Hello children, welcome to our classroom. I am Arpana Chetri from Upper Siari Junior High School, and today I am here to teach you Science for Class 6, and my topic is fiber to fabric. Now, when I say fiber to fabric, these two words, I know it is new to you, so let me explain these two words in a very simple way by asking a very simple question. Now, when we go around in MG Marg or even in Lal Bazaar or any other shopping stores around Gangtok, we get fascinated by the beautiful multicolored clothes that we see hanging around in these stores in anywhere. And even at home, when you observe around yourself, you will see that the curtains, the bed covers, the bed sheet, cushion covers, carpets, every piece of cloth which you see at home. Have you ever thought where this piece of clothes have come from? Well, students, let me tell you, they have come from the raw material which is called fiber. So fiber makes the fabric, and fiber is the basis on which fabric is made. So what is fiber? Actually, when we have to define fiber, it is the hairy raw material that is used to make fabric. Now, by this definition, you've understood the meaning of fiber and fabric. Fiber is the hairy raw material which जसलाई हामीले नेपालीबाट रेसा पनि भन्न सक्छौं. So that particular fiber goes on making the cloth we wear or clothes we see hanging around us, and that is the fabric. So fibers can be man-made or natural substances. These are hairy kind of substances which makes the fabrics. So if you see fibers here, they are generally longer in length than its width. So this fiber goes on making the fabrics that we see. Children, in this chapter, there are various terms and terminologies used. And what I will be doing is I will try to familiarize you with those terms and terminologies by which the understanding of the chapter becomes easy. So before moving into those terms and terminologies, let me classify the fibers. Now, fibers can broadly be classified into two groups. Number one, synthetic or man-made fibers, and number two, natural fibers. Now, furthermore, natural fiber can broadly be divided into the fibers obtained from the plant sources and the fibers obtained from the animal sources. Now, when we talk about the fibers obtained from the plant sources, the fibers obtained from the plant sources can be predominantly found as cotton, jute, and flax. Now, this flax is a very common replacement of the cotton and jute fiber, and it is manufactured in the river valley of River Nile in Egypt. And well, cotton and jute fiber we are going to do later in detail. Now, when we talk about animal sources, fibers from animal sources can come as wool, and it can come as silk. Now, wool can be obtained from some of the common animals like camel, sheep, goat, deer, etc. And silk fiber can be obtained from the silkworm, which wove a cocoon around it, and that cocoon gives us the range of silk fiber which can be woven into different kinds of clothes for making of silk fabric. Now, I was also talking about the deer here. Now, this is a very special kind of deer which is found in the Kashmir Valley. Its name is Satush. Now, it gives us one of the finest quality of wool, and that is called Satush wool. And one important thing I have to tell you about this Satush fiber is for obtaining this fiber, this particular animal deer was killed frequently. So nowadays India government has put a ban on the manufacturing of this Satush wool. So we've left out synthetic fibers here. Let us talk about synthetic fiber. And synthetic fibers can be found as rayon, B, nylon, and C, polyester. Now, rayon is also called the artificial silk, and nylon is one of the strongest kind of synthetic or the artificial fiber, and polyester can be made into different kinds of garments which are very easy to use. So children, we were talking about differentiating between the synthetic or the artificial or the man-made fiber and the natural fiber. So how can we differentiate? We can differentiate it through a small activity which you can carry it at home, and it's very easy to carry out this activity. So you should, carrying out this activity, you should be careful with it, because we are going to burn the fiber and we are going to learn which one is the synthetic fiber and which one is the man-made, natural fiber. So here in my right hand I have a piece of cloth. We don't know if it is a synthetic or if it is a natural fiber, and here in my another hand I have another piece of cloth, and we will now try to conduct the experiment. We will just try to burn this piece of clothes. I've taken out a very small piece from this bigger piece, and also from this here. So you should be careful about burning this fiber at home. Don't make your parents angry by burning any piece of clothes that you see. But yes, a small experiment is always welcome, so you can conduct it at home too. So now I am trying to burn this small fabric which I have in my hand, and let us see what is happening. You see this piece of fabric is getting crumbled up, and it is rolling into a ball, and its volume is turning into a small ball. It even sticks to the plate here in this way. Now similarly, when I burn the other piece of cloth here in the other plate, you can see that this piece of cloth does not crumble, but it is turning into the ashes, and these ashes are able to break in this way. But here in this plate, this particular fabric, it did not turn into ashes. It crumbled into a ball and hardened and some kind of melted. Okay, it's turning into a ball, crumbling into a ball. Now, and this one is leaving out ashes behind it, and these ashes can break. So now let me tell you, this particular fiber in my first plate, the fabric which turned into a ball kind of thing, this is a synthetic fiber, a synthetic man-made fiber. Now in the other plate, the fiber which turned into ashes and it is breaking down. So this fiber is the natural fiber. So this is a very easy activity which you can carry it at home as well, and that's how we differentiate between the natural and the man-made fiber. Now let me show you some of the samples of the fabric. This is the cotton fabric obtained from the cotton fiber, jute fabric obtained from the jute fiber, woolen fabric obtained from wool, and silk fabric obtained from silk fiber. Well children, now we'll move on to some of the plant fibers in today's chapter. And I already told you about the plant fibers in today's chapter, that is the cotton and the jute fiber. So we will be talking about cotton and jute fiber in a little more detail. First is cotton fiber. Now cotton fiber is obtained from the cotton plant, and this fiber is obtained from the fruit of the cotton plant, which is called the bolls. Now bolls is the fruit of the cotton plant. Now when this fruit or the bolls of the cotton plant matures, the cotton fiber along with the cotton seed it opens up and it bursts open the fiber along with the seed. Now here in my hand you can see the cotton fiber. Now this cotton fiber is obtained along with the cotton seed, which I have already taken out here, and there is a process of taking out or separating the cotton seed from the cotton fiber, and that process is called combing. The process of separating the cotton seed from the cotton fiber. This process is also known as ginning. So combing or ginning is the first process of making cotton fabric from cotton fiber. Let me go furthermore that when we hold the cotton fiber in our hands, and I am just trying to spread it out in this way. Now you can see there are filamentous kind of thing which is coming out from the cotton fiber. So these filaments are called lints, and this lints has to be pressed before it is transported to the factories and the industries for the further process of making cotton fabric. Now when I have to press this cotton, because it's little bulky, and when I have to press this cotton, now this process is called the baling of the cotton baling. And what is the requirement of cotton baling? Let me tell you, is cotton baling is required as because this cotton from the cotton field has to be transported to the industries and factories for the making of the cotton fabric. So that is why the process of baling is very important. This is the cotton plant. So we can see the cotton has already burst open from the cotton bolls. Now let us talk about the jute fiber next. This jute fiber is obtained from the jute plant. The stem of the jute plant gives us the jute fiber. Now, when is the correct stage of harvesting this jute plant is when the jute plant reaches the flowering stage. So that is the correct stage of obtaining the jute fiber from the jute plant. Now, the stem, as we all know, you've studied in class 5, I think, students, stem is the main part of the plant, main branch of the plant, from which the other branches and the leaves arises. So this stem I am talking about, the main branch. The stem of the jute plant, when it matures, at that time it is harvested and it is immersed in water for few days. Now after it starts rotting, that is the time when the jute fiber is taken out, and then it is transported to the jute factories. This was the plantation of the jute fiber, and you can see some of the people here, they are extracting the jute stem, they are cutting down the stem for transportation process. Children, I am going to show you about the the areas in which the jute cultivation and the cotton cultivation is distributed in our country, India. Now, this is the map of India, where we can see the cultivation of the cotton and the jute plant is distributed. If we considered cotton plantation here, cotton plantation is widely grown in Malwa and Deccan Plateau, almost in the peninsular India, and in the southern Gujarat and southern Rajasthan, we can also see the cultivation of cotton. And when we talk about the cultivation of jute, jute is widely cultivated in parts of Bihar, Orissa, West Bengal and Assam. So this was about the distribution of the cotton and jute fiber. These are the plant fibers that we are talking about in our chapter. So let's talk about the uses of cotton fiber now. Cotton fibers are widely used in our locality for lighting purposes, that is for making of chimneys and diyas. The wick which is used is made out of cotton fiber, and not only that, cotton fibers are widely used in making quilts, cushion covers, cushions, mattresses, etc. And jute fiber has also has its wide uses. It can be used to make bags, jute floor mats, jute carpets, and many other items which we can find everywhere around us. So that was obtaining of the fiber from the plant sources, and so once the fiber is obtained, now it has to be converted into yarn, and this yarn is subsequently converted into the making of fabric. Now in this process of fabric construction, you will see that fiber from the field, it is already brought into the industries, and then there is this process of making of yarn starts. Now I mentioned here the word yarn. What is yarn? Yarn is nothing but the thread अथवा धागो जुन चाहिँ हामीले घरमा युज गर्छ लुगा सिलाउनको लागि, यस्तो किसिमको धागोलाई हामीले yarn भनेर भन्छ. त्यो चाहिँ फाइबरबाट बनिन्छ. So there is a process of making yarn from fiber which is called spinning. So हाम्रो लुगा बनाउनुमा नेक्स्ट प्रोसेस चाहिँ छ स्पिनिङ, अथवा फ्याब्रिक मेकिङमा नेक्स्ट प्रोसेस इज स्पिनिङ. This process of spinning is very simple. It is the process in which the fibers are brought together and twisted. So this process of bringing the fiber together and twisting it is called spinning. Now let me show you another activity by which spinning is done by hands. Now let me show you. I am holding some pieces of cotton fiber in my left hand, and With my right hand, I am holding a pinch of this same cotton fiber between the thumbs and my forefinger. Now what I am doing is I am trying to pull this, and I am trying to twist it. As I pull it, I twist it in this way. So here what I am doing is I am spinning the cotton fiber into cotton yarn. So this process of spinning the cotton fiber to cotton yarn is very easy. हामीले घरमा पनि देखिरहेको आमाहरूले, हजुरआमाहरूले अथवा आम्लाहरूले चाहिँ यो काम उहाँहरूले गरिरहेको हुनुहुन्छ. And this is how the process of spinning is carried out, and this is how the fiber is converted into yarn. So यसरी yarn बनाइन्छ. So this was in a very small scale, just an experiment for you all. Now in a larger scale, earlier this spinning process was carried out by a handhold device which is called takli, and I'm going to show you about that takli. So in the picture you can see this is the takli, or the handhold device, which is used for the spinning of the fiber to make yarn. And this was earlier used to make yarn from the fiber. Now that was in a large scale. Later on, that particular takli was replaced by another device which is called charkha. Charkha, as we all know, when we see the picture of the charkha, this is the icon or the logo of our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, and it played a very vital role during the freedom movement. During that time when India was struggling for the freedom, this charkha was very handy. People were asked to use handmade goods and handmade textiles, and they were asked to boycott the foreign goods, and at that time this charkha played a very important role. The people started making yarn out of this charkha, and they started making clothes which they could easily do it in their home and using the materials which was available here in India. So that was the history part about the charkha. So now we are done with the making of yarn by the process of spinning. That was the third process in the making of fabric from fiber. Now fiber to yarn is done, and from yarn it goes and turn in making of fabric. So there are various processes, various methods by which yarn is converted into fabric. And here we will mainly talk about the two processes, that is weaving and knitting. Now when we talk about weaving, there are two series of yarn which are interlocked in a horizontal and vertical manner, and that is how the weaving is done. And for weaving also I have one small paper here which I have bought it from home. We can carry out another small activity in which weaving can be done. You just need to take a multicolored paper in this way and cut it out. Here in this way, it's very simple to cut it out. A square paper, I've just folded it and cut it in this way. I've made many cuts in this way, and now we can spread it like this and take another piece of paper, and we can as well weave this in a crisscross pattern. We can interlock these pieces of fabric, or I'm carrying it out in a paper. We can as well weave a cloth. So in this weaving what we did is we arranged two series of yarn, that is in a vertical and a horizontal cross section, and the weaving process is done. Next, what we will be talking about is this weaving is very common to our place. In our place, we can see people making carpets by this process in a loom. It can be done by hand as well as by machine. The process of weaving is shown here in the picture. A person is carrying out the process of weaving, which is the process of arranging two sets of yarn in a horizontal and vertical manner. That is how weaving is done. Now let us talk about the process of knitting. In the process of knitting, a single continuous yarn is used to make a whole piece of cloth. Now, in this process, we saw that only single yarn is made use, and whenever we try to pull out any end of this clothes, the whole clothes gets unraveled. And this type of process, this knitting process can be seen in some of the woolen clothes like sweaters, like mufflers, pullover, socks, or any other woolen clothes. And this process of knitting can also be done by hand as well as by machine, which is very common to our place. Now, what is the basic difference between this process of knitting and weaving is, in the process of weaving we used two series of yarn, and this was arranged in a vertical and horizontal cross section, and whereas in a process of knitting we used a single yarn which goes continuously to make a piece of cloth. So that is the basic difference between the two. Now let us talk about the history part of the clothes making. So while talking about the history part of the cloth making, we all know early people, early man, they did not know about the process of spinning, weaving and knitting. So what they did was they put on the clothes which is made from the bark of the trees or animal skin, or even they put on the leaves of the trees and covered their body in that way. And later on, as they started settling down in one place and growing crops, at that time they realized that clothes can be made and clothes can be manufactured. So that was the time they started making the clothes, and they started spinning the clothes and made long clothes and long garments, which they try to drape it around unstitched. And during that time unstitched clothes was very commonly used by all of these people. As needles was not discovered, and after the discovery of needle, that takes up in the development of the civilization, and then as the needles was discovered, people again realized that they can make stitch a garment out of that fabric, and that was the time they started putting on the stitched garments. Now, however, in some parts of India and in some other countries, unstitched garments are also in use. And for example, I have some pictures of the saris, dhotis and lungis, which we can commonly find in any part of India, any other part of the world. So that was the history part of the clothes making, and that was all about the fabric construction that we were talking about in this chapter. Now we are done with the chapter, but let us quickly recapitulate whatever we have done today. In the beginning we were talking about the fiber and fabric. Fiber is the basis of fabric, and this fiber was classified into two types, that was natural fiber, and the other type was synthetic or the man-made fiber. Furthermore, natural fiber was subdivided into the fiber obtained from the plant sources and fiber obtained from the animal sources. When we talk about the fibers obtained from the plant sources, there was these three types of fiber. There was cotton, there was jute, and the third one was flax. And when we talk about the animal fiber, animal fiber is subsequently divided into wool and silk. Now, I also told you wool yielding animals are rabbit, goat, deer, camel and many more, as we can see in the process of cloth making. Then we talked about the silk fiber, which is made from the cocoon of the silkworm, which gives us the silk fiber, which can be woven into different kinds of clothes. And after that we were mainly dealt with the cotton fiber and the jute fiber. We also talked about the differentiating of natural fiber from the synthetic fiber by just a small process of burning And then after that we talked about the cotton fiber. Cotton is obtained from the bolls of the cotton plant. These bolls are called the fruit, and now the cotton seed along with the cotton fiber is obtained from that plant, and that cotton seed has to be removed from the cotton fiber, and that process of removing or separating the cotton fiber from the cotton seed is called it's called combing, and combing is also called ginning. Now furthermore, the bulk of cotton has to be reduced to be transported to the factories, and that process I told you was ginning. And after that we talked about the jute fiber. Jute fiber is obtained from the jute plant, and the stem of the jute plant gives out the jute fiber. Then we talked about the distribution of the two fibers, that is the cotton and jute fibers in different parts of India. And then we talked about the process of converting yarn into fabric, and the process of converting yarn into fabric was mainly we dealt with two processes, that was weaving and knitting. In weaving we saw two series of yarn. They were made to run in an interlocked manner in a horizontal and vertical cross section, and then in the process of knitting what we did was a single yarn continuously went on making a piece of cloth. So that was the all about the fabric construction or making of clothes, children, and I hope you will explore this chapter even more after this class, and I hope you will give your hands on some of the activities that we carried out in today's class, that is the process of spinning, weaving and knitting, which would be very interesting for you all at home to do. So all the best. Thank you.